Alright, let's dive into the 2026 Formula One season because, honestly, it's shaping up to be one of the most fascinating seasons in recent memory. And the big question on everyone's mind? Can Kimi Antonelli become the youngest world champion in F1 history? Personally, I think this kid is something special, but let's break it down and see where everyone stands. First off, Antonelli is 50 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton and 59 points ahead of George Russell. That's a massive lead, but what makes this really interesting is that he's only in his second season at just 19 years old. If you take a step back and think about it, this is insane. The kid is dominating in a way that's hard to ignore. His performance at Monaco, for example, was nothing short of outstanding. What this really suggests is that we might be witnessing the rise of a new era in F1. Now, let's talk about Lewis Hamilton. The seven-time world champion is having a solid season, but he's got to be frustrated. In my opinion, he should be much closer to Antonelli in the title race. What many people don't realize is that Hamilton has actually turned his pace deficit from last year into a consistent advantage over Charles Leclerc. If he can cut out the errors, I wouldn't rule him out for an eighth title. That would be historic. George Russell, on the other hand, has had a tougher time. Sure, he's had bad luck, but so has Antonelli. The reality is, Russell hasn't matched his teammates' pace since Japan. One thing that immediately stands out is whether it's his driving style or something else, but he's been on the back foot. This raises a deeper question. Can Russell turn it around in the second half of the season? Lando Norris is another driver who's been flying under the radar. He's driving just as well as he did last year, but the car hasn't been there to support him, except for Austria. What makes this really interesting is that Norris has been consistently outperforming his teammate, Oscar Piastri. In my opinion, Norris is one of the most underrated drivers on the grid right now. Max Verstappen, despite not winning a race yet, is still driving the wheels off his Red Bull. A detail I find fascinating is that he's only one podium behind both Ferrari drivers, and that's with a car that barely wanted to get off the start line earlier this year. This guy is a fighter, and I wouldn't count him out for a late-season surge. Speaking of Red Bull, Isaac Hadjar is doing a fantastic job as Verstappen's teammate. He's outqualified Verstappen a couple of times, but his race pace still needs work. From my perspective, Hadjar is a strong contender to keep that seat for 2027. Pierre Gasly at Alpine is another standout. He's the only driver outside the top 4 teams to stand on the podium this season, and that's impressive. What this really suggests is that Gasly is maximizing what he's got, and that's a testament to his skill. Now, let's talk about the rookies. Arvid Lindblad at Racing Bulls is having a great debut season. He's holding his own against Liam Lawson, and that's no small feat. One thing that immediately stands out is his aggression. He's not afraid to get his elbows out, and that's exactly what you want to see from a young driver. At the other end of the spectrum, Esteban Ocon at Haas is under serious pressure. He's been slower than Oliver Bearman all season, and Haas is reportedly looking at other drivers for 2027. Personally, I think Ocon needs a strong second half to save his seat. Finally, let's not forget Fernando Alonso. At 45, he's still hustling his car around the track like he's in his prime. What many people don't realize is that he's consistently outperforming Lance Stroll, and that's with a car that's not exactly at the front of the grid. This guy's passion is unmatched. So, where does this leave us? Antonelli is in the driver's seat, but there's still a long way to go. Hamilton, Verstappen, and Norris are all capable of mounting a challenge. And let's not forget the unpredictability of F1. In my opinion, the second half of this season is going to be epic. What do you think? Who's your pick for the championship? Let me know in the comments below.